Hello everyone, today we're rigging the ePDL 120 Pro. I've got to go into the garage and start pulling some parts off of my big water ePDL and also the Autopilot 120. There's several things that I want to put on this kayak to be able to fish with it for the next several months. So let's go into the garage and start pulling some of those parts off and start putting them on this kayak. Let's see, anything else? I think we're also going to need the head unit to the Humminbird. So let's just disconnect that. There we go. We'll take the whole thing inside for right now. And then we also need these right here. These are what I put my, I don't know if y'all can see right now, it's very dark inside the garage, but these hold my stakeout pole. So put all these pieces in here. That should pretty much be it. I don't think we're going to need anything else from either of these kayaks. So what we can do is just start with the easy items, and that's going to be these two fellas right here. But I'm going to have to flip the kayak over in order to install the wiring for the new transducer and the Humminbird, so I think we have to just hold off on these items. Let's remove the seat. There we go. Get this out of the way. We'll remove the motor. Let's find some cardboard. Here we go. Begin by taking the transducer mount off. Let's grab our transducer. First thing we want to do is run the transducer wire through the hole, and that's going to go right through here. We'll take the mounting hardware and pull all this stuff out and start piecing it together. And we're going to connect the little bracket that will attach to the transducer mount and go up against there, but we need to connect this bracket to the actual transducer itself, and so everything's going to be upside down. And what we want to do is get these little two attaching pieces and put them onto the actual transducer, and then shimmy that onto the bracket. There we go, kind of snapped in place just like that. And then it comes with like a nut and a bolt. So we'll put the bolt right there, and then take this bolt and screw it onto the nut. I don't know if I just called that a bolt, but it's a nut, obviously. Now that we've got this portion of the bracket attached to the transducer, what we want to do is connect it to the other piece of it that's actually going to connect to the mounting plate on your kayak. But man, this is such a difficult process. I've done this several times in the past and have always messed it up and had to take it apart, because you can mount it in two ways. You have these holes right here, two of them that are close together, and then two that are furthest apart. And if I remember correctly, I think the two that are closest together has to be closest to the underside of the hull. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to tuck the transducer away, and what you want to do is make sure that your transducer is riding almost right up against the bottom side of the hull, so that when you're going through the water and if you hit oyster or you're scooching through the mud, if this is up, well, you know, it's going to get hit by every bit of debris that we run over. But if it's tucked under, at least it's going to save it. And so that's the tough part, because if you don't mount it correctly, well, then it won't let you get right up underneath the hull itself. And so let's do this. I know I have to put this on first, because if we don't do that, then you're not going to be able to get it on once it's all attached. Okay, let's take it back off, because I need to explain the hardware that we're using. It's a 1024 by 3/4 inch bolt. This is stainless steel because we're fishing in salt water, and if you use anything else, it's going to get eaten up by the salt water. And these right here, I've used them for 7 years. They work great. So that's the size bolt that I'm going to be using. And if I need to take up some space, I've got number 10 sized stainless washers. I don't know if I'm going to have to use that. We're going to try just using this, and hopefully these bolts aren't going to be like protruding out too much to where it's going to hit the plastic inside there. And then this, no, I mean, that's very, very close. I might need to use one washer, y'all, just judging on the way that looks. I might have to put a washer to take up that space and push the head of the bolt a little bit in so that this does not start rubbing up against the hull itself, and then I crack the plastic. So let's grab one of these to take up that 1/16 of an inch of space. I guess we'll do it on the back side, maybe. If I do it on the back side, no, it's got to be on the front side, right by the head. And so we put that in there. We'll grab another one. That right there. Then this has got to go on. This is such a difficult process. Like I said, I've messed it up so bad in the past, and I had to keep taking it off and reattaching. Hopefully I get it right. It's one way or the other. Those two little holes are either going to go up against the bottom side of the hull, or they're going to be away from it. I hope I get it right. And then we're going to take a 10mm socket, and now we can take the Phillips and start trying to tighten this fella down. Oh my gosh, I just turned to loosen. Alright, put this one on. You want to leave it loose because you're still going to have to raise and lower the transducer mount. Okay, so we want it right here in this position, just like that. And when I say just like that, I'm meaning you've got these two bolts. They can go up or they can go down, and I want it to go down as far as I possibly can, so that means that the transducer again rides up against that hull. And while I hold it in place in that position, it's going to be so difficult. Let's get this ratchet and socket on there. You almost need another person to do this right here. It is the worst. You need to be a darn octopus, man. Oh my gosh. Okay, tighten that one. It would help if I put it on the other nut. cinch that down. We'll cinch the other one down. And here's the moment of truth. And I say this because once we snap this in place, it's difficult to unsnap these little wings right there that are going to lock into place. But here we go. Oh gosh, it's so hard. All right. Ain't no going back now. All right. Let's see. Yeah, we did it right. Thank goodness. My gosh, this is it's the absolute worst. You'll know you did it wrong if your transducer is not riding. Let me take the hat off. If the transducer is not riding below this portion of the hull, this skid plate, then you know you did it wrong, because otherwise it's going to be riding somewhere up here, and that's no land. It's basically going to get broken really quick. Yeah, that was the most difficult thing to do right there. I am glad it's over, and hopefully we ain't never got to change this thing out again. Now we just want to tuck our wires away, and we got to feed it through inside the hull. Get the hatch off. This will make things easier because on my other kayak, it's got such a small hatch that getting your arm through, it's just very difficult. All right, let's see how this thing works. You got several holes. I guess we're gonna have to cut this. I'm just gonna cut right along where it has a line. I guess that's where I need to go. And hopefully I did this right, because there ain't no going back. That's for dang sure. Here, let's see if it even fits through doing that route. Okay, I guessed right as far as which one I needed to cut. All right, yeah, that looks like it's gonna work. There. Y'all, I am trying my absolute best to hopefully capture every bit of this in frame, but in the event that I don't, I think it's kind of self-explanatory with what I'm doing, but hopefully we are capturing this in the frame. If you're not one for rigging, there are a lot of kayak shops that have a rigging shop, and they'll gladly do this stuff for you. You just got to have some patience, some extreme patience, because yeah, going through that was very difficult, just trying to get that transducer attached. But now that we're on the home stretch, let's pull this in nice and steady. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is run the wiring all the way over here to this side right there. And we got to cut it again. Oh my gosh. It feels so good to be done with that. All right, we just coiled up all the wiring right inside here. That's all done. Let's go ahead and close the hatch up because we're pretty much done inside here. Now, let's take the mount and let's attach the actual fish finder. I don't know how far down I'm going to need it because I have no idea how far this sled has to go down, but we'll put it right here for time being. Just like that. I tell you what, salt water never dries. There we go. Put some dielectric grease inside that. There we go. I'm going to take the power cable and what is that? That's a plug? Yes. I hope this is going to be long enough. It's got to reach from over there all the way back here. I don't have any extra marine grade wire. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think. It's going to have to work. Man, I thought this was going to be plenty of wire, but now I'm kind of worried. So we've got to connect these two together. We got this guy all wired up and like triple sealed, and let's put some dielectric grease over here at this end. There we go. And we're good. But if everything's good to go, we should be able to get some juice to the fish finder. Yeah, baby, we got power. The rest of what we got to do is just pretty easy. These are, you just screw them on really quick and that's pretty much it. So run this through. Again, this is going to hold our push pole. I do like the fact that these are 36 inches long because I used to have to reach forward to grab my push pole because of the other gear tracks being so tiny. I can literally make sure that my handle is right here by my rudder control. We'll adjust it later on if we need to. And then we can run this one all the way up to the front. Right there. Right there. Perfect. Yeah, that's gonna be clutch, having it so far back towards my seat. It's gonna be awesome. These right here are little tie down rings so that when I run my strap for the cart, there we are. So these tie down rings are going to help me out from the strap on my kayak cart. If I didn't have them and you put the strap up there and you hit a pothole, it's just going to slide completely off. So if I run the strap in front of these and I hit something and the cart wants to get pushed backwards, the straps will get caught up on these tie down rings. You could fish it through right here, which is theoretically what you're supposed to do. That's just, it takes too long to do that. So I just go up right there and then just start pulling it forward. And then this right here is for the camera mount. That's so that we can get that camera view from the behind the kayak. Last but not least is the kayak, the crate. I don't know how I want to do this. I want to go that way, or do we want to go back here? I don't know that I'm gonna have enough room for my fish bag, y'all. I mean, you got space in here, but there's not gonna be enough space for my fish bag and this crate. That's a bummer. Yeah, this is a lot smaller than the autopilot. I guess they had to take up some of the space because of the hatch right here. They needed a place to put it, and so they had to extend this piece of plastic so that they could put that on, and it cut into your deck space. No, it's not gonna fit. Look at that. I'm not gonna tie down my crate like that. Okay, that sucks. Oh man. So I think I'm just gonna leave it right here where it's at and push it back as far as I can. And being that the deck inside there is unlevel, I'm gonna use a block of wood right about there to try to level it out. If I didn't level it out, the rods, when I put them in here, are going to be leaning forward towards my seat. And we have the straps that comes with the crate. We'll use this one back here to make a little loop with a pretty hefty zip tie. These will hold for a couple years. And let's see. That right there. That's pretty much it. There we have it, a fully rigged kayak, just the way that I had my other one that I currently use, and everything is in place. There's going to be really no difference fishing from this, with exception to the propulsion system. We have better control over the other kayak than we do with this one, but I think with this fella, we're going to have more speed. And that's what I'm looking forward to. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click that thumbs up button. And the next time that I see y'all with this kayak, we'll be on the water. Until next time, tight lines, everyone.